Service Butler, ready to serve. Smart solutions you deserve. From calls to jobs, we do it right. The Butler's here, day or night.
They simplify your service, grow with ease. AI solutions for all your needs.
The Home Service Butler here for you. Efficiency and care in all we do. Home Service Butler, simplifying service, empowering success.
Good afternoon, everybody, or morning, wherever you're at. 5 o'clock somewhere, right? This is Bill with the Home Service Butler, and we're going to talk about what a full communication hub is and why you've never heard of it. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. You'll notice we have some limited data on our screen. It seems that Google will not let me upload stuff if there's other phone numbers on there that possibly could represent other people's information, even though I tried to blur it out. So what I did is I made this video with access to only limited information, and I hopefully will not have a problem with Google. I guess that I'm an AI guy, not a Google guy. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. First thing we want to look at is our customer. This is where the full communication hub actually kind of takes form. So the Home Service Butler is the brainchild of 30 years of growing a business with fast response heating and cooling. Over the years, we've gotten bigger, and our call volume has it's through the roof. Literally, we get 15,000 customers a year just from home warranty companies. Average customer, 2 to 3 phone calls. Just a brief example, in the last 208 days, we've had 24,000 phone calls. Gosh, imagine how many text messages were sent. Either we sent a text message to a program called Dispatch. Dispatch is a service that works directly with the home warranty companies, and they can do some text messaging there. Our technicians will make a text message when they're out in the field. And then obviously, the homeowner texts back in either one of those mediums. We haven't even got to emails yet. What about emails? If a homeowner emails in, it doesn't connect at all with Dispatch. There's just no clue it happened. Our CRM capabilities are spread across several platforms. I mean, that was the past. So what we did is we, unwittingly built a communication hub. We built a place where all of our communication goes, and then it goes deeper. The communication hub, kind of goes into call flow, work management, extreme AI integration. With that said, it's very simple AI integration. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to work with the AI inside the system. And here in a minute, we'll get into why you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do it, because we've did all the hard work. We put the AI together and we automated the processes of the AI in the back end. The front end is how you utilize that AI with automated triggers. So let's go ahead and take a look at a call here. This is Demo Dan. This is a demo customer that I made. And if we click on them, we're going to go to the customer record. So the first thing you'll notice on the customer record is the communications log. So right here would be the SMS messages or text messages. So one Demo Dan came through to us. It was an automated process. It came directly through Dispatch through a webhook or URL. And we found out we got them, and we immediately sent them a text message. Wonderful news, Bill. We've received your work order. So one of the things that's very important on this is you see the link right here. They get a link directly inside this email. This link is key to part of what we do with our AI, because when this link is clicked, it updates the customer record to let us know that they're on our webpage. It lets us know where they're at in our webpage and what they're looking at. We have a disclaimer right in the front of the webpage that they have to accept. That we have all the privacy statements built in, but we want to know what they're thinking, right? Like we want to know if they're looking at financing options. Great, yeah. I mean that's invaluable. Now I can set up an automated trigger through AI to send them out some marketing information about financing. Let's say they go from financing to my furnace section. We'll take a quick look at what this website looks like here. And we'll do that in the next video. No point in getting too off track. So this is our SMS messages. So every communication from the office is stored right here. It's a flat file. It's connected to the customer. If a service tech in the field uses the app, text back and forth to the customer, that information will be stored here as well, and we'll know what was said through text communication. Now let's go up to call log. So we got our call logs here. We have 2 calls. We got the call recording right here. So we have this one, and then we got this.
Morning. National Conference. Nicholas, how can I make your day better?
Hey, my name's Bill. I was on Google and I found you guys and just wanted to find out what your availability is and how much it is to come out.
Yeah, I'd be happy to assist here. Could I have your address, please?
It's 123 Demo Street.
All right, so you guys got an idea of the call recording. So as many call recordings as we have in the field, out of the field, back and forth, in and out, it's all controlled. How do you do that? Okay, so the field app is going to have a phone system built right into it. So they'll be able to text the homeowner, and they'll be able to call the homeowner right from the app. They'll be able to answer the phone right from the app. That way, all this communication is captured, and it's stored. And it's stored in a couple different ways. Well, obviously, we have our communication log here, and then we have our more detailed communication log that I'm going to get into in a minute. And that's where we start to get the AI transcripts put together, and we'll go into that in a second. So that's the first two communications we've captured. The third was going to be emails. When the homeowner emails back in, we have the email right here. It's stored with the record, with the customer. We know what's going on. We can send emails in and out of the system right here. A cool feature of this is you can select a template, and you can templatize what you're doing. It's a great way to be really fast and consistent. Then we have our calendar right here, activities. These are activities. This kind of shows what's going on with the call. We had a no answer, and then we had a AC tune-up call. So it's a little bit more detail. So we got our summary right here. Now, there's a lot of triggers stored in the customer record, and there's also a lot of triggers stored in the job record. Okay, so one customer might have 4 or 5 interactions with our business. So I need to say, first, this is the customer, and this is how many interactions he had. This demo customers had 1 interaction. So from the customer perspective, what details am I trying to capture in order to use with AI to create triggers? We already talked about our website. Where did they visit? Demo Dan visited the financing page, okay? Now, we have something in our business that's called HSA calls. So essentially, if we have a customer that comes from a home warranty company, and the home warranty company calls in about this customer, they always give a number that reflects this customer. AI listens to the phone call, finds that number, and immediately attaches that call information to this customer so we can keep track of what customers may or may not have issues related to the home warranty company. Maybe there's a change order, maybe they canceled. It's all attached right to the customer. So that's one metric that we use specific to our business, and this completely can be adjusted for pretty much anything that you would like to capture for your business. So a couple things here that we will show you is service year. Service year is 2024. That's this year. That's basically saying this is the latest time we've met this customer. Now, there could be times where this customer's worked with us in 2019, and we'll get into that here in a minute, how we can kind of get into those years. So if my very first service with this customer was in 2019, my service year would not say 2024, it would say 2019, because it's going to go to the earliest service date. And then each job is going to have the service year associated with it. Why is that important? If we're going to build a marketing record, we're going to want to know what customers we're targeting. Are we targeting customers that are 1 year old? And that's going to dictate exactly what we offer them, or compared to a customer that's 5 years old. And that's going to obviously be a different type of marketing perspective. Now let's get into some other things that we have here. Zip code economy. I want to know the economic value of the area they work in or live in. Reason that's important is because if they're in a very affluential neighborhood or very rich neighborhood, I guess I got to figure out how to talk, we might want to offer them high-end, high-efficiency systems with all the bells and whistles, right? Not to say somebody in a lesser neighborhood maybe not want that or could afford that, but they may be more enticed by, let's say, a free furnace tune-up, and at the same time, vice versa. So however you want to market, you're going to have the economic value of that location. That's just built off zip codes. What else do we have on this page here? There's a lot of things to go over with these AI triggers. There's triggers in here that have been built that I totally forgot about. And that's one of the cool things about it, is it's not constant tinkering with it. Once you build in how you want it to work, it just works. We have our email validation, so people can opt in, opt out. That's very important for your marketing campaigns. The Home Service Butler has email and SMS marketing built right in. It's a standard feature for it. We have some options for AI autoresponders if you want to go that route. That's not a standardized feature just because of the regulatory requirements to do that. It is not going to be met by everybody, so we didn't want to include it for everybody. So let's take a look at the jobs. Okay, so we know that Demo Dan has one job. We go to it, AC tune-up, and as you see, things are color-coded based on different factors. So you can, if you had 7 or 8 jobs here, you could have the most recent job, for instance, highlight, green, the oldest job highlight red. There's just ways you can visualize the data. So let's click on this AC tune-up here. We're going to go to details. All right, so we're in the details. So this is your summary view. Again, you have your communication logs, and this is the same reflection as you'd have from the customer profile. Now let's go here to details. All right, so first detail on this job is 1 day old. That means this job was created today. Tomorrow, that would say 2 days old. Pretty easy concept here. Most people can count. The reason that's important is that's one potential trigger that we use in our business to dictate potential problems or potential successes. Another trigger that you see here is we have NCC days. In our business, sometimes customers will get a non-covered cost for a home warranty claim. In the day they get that non-covered cost, it's going to start counting the NCC days. The reason that's important is once they pay the NCC days, it's going to stop. It's going to update the paid NCC. So we're going to need our staff to reach out to the customer, explain to them what's going on, and we can basically pick and choose who we go after based on how long they've had this information in their hands. So that's just one trigger we use. Another trigger we use is part days. How many days has that customer been waiting on a part? Very key. And there may be other metrics in your business that would not be part days. It could be, excuse me, another set of circles. All right. So let's move on to subject. Now the subject would be what the call is for. The customer, Demo Dan. His current status is part needed. Okay, so these statuses are key to the intelligent call flow management. So in our communication hub here, we're going to move these calls around based on the job stage. So let's go ahead and take this customer right here, and we're going to move them back to the created status. In the created status, the Home Service Butler is going to know that this customer is created. We have did nothing with him. We received it. Maybe we took the phone call over the phone. We put the information in. He's not scheduled. He's in there. We're waiting for the next process. If this customer was to call in, he's automatically going to get our customer service reps. Now, at the point in time we schedule him, bam, right there, he's scheduled. And when he gets scheduled, he's going to be assigned to somebody. All right, let's go back. I hit the wrong button. Okay, so he's going to get assigned to somebody. We're going to call it test technician. All right, so he's scheduled test technician. Now the date of the appointment, that's going to be key because as soon as that appointment day arrives, this technician is going to automatically be where the phone call goes. Yep, customer calls in, he's going to get the technician. And maybe you don't want that in your business process. We found it to be easier to have that communication directed at the technician based on his workflow. And it can even go more in depth than that. For instance, we show our technicians one job at a time. He will only get access for that customer to call him during the time where he has that job active up until closed. At that point in time, when he closes the job, this assigned to is going to automatically change to scheduling CS. Boom. He closed the job. He's done. He's moving on. Now, if that customer calls in, oh man, I got a frog on my throat and I haven't eaten any frogs. When the customer calls back in, he's going to directly get the customer service scheduling. So we don't have to worry about him having after hours communication. That works for text messages too. So, when the customer texts back in, it's going to be connected to the record. The only way the technician or salesperson in the field continue to see that record is if it's assigned to him. If it's not assigned to him, he's not going to have access to those records. The reason being is we want to make sure that, if that customer calls in after hours or decides, let's say, hey, at 8 o'clock at night, you know what, it was a great presentation, salesperson took a lot of time with me, I'm going to buy a new furnace. I'm so excited, I'm calling right now. But you know what? that call is going to get routed through to the proper person that's going to answer those calls after hours. That's their job. We don't want to rely on a technician or a salesperson to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we need to make sure that we automate these processes. So that for us is the statuses. Now, let's say we got a job that's canceled. All right, that's gonna ring back to the customer service department, but we're gonna know the details of the cancellation through AI at the time we take the phone call. That way we're ready in real time. So we have Demo Dan here, and these are just a small example of how we're using triggers to automate a process with the phone. So, for your job lifecycle, for your business, your job lifecycle is going to start off with customer acquisition. It's going to come up with a communication process, whether that's scheduling or, in the field or maybe over the phone or even a web demo. Then you're going to move into the sales process. Then you're going to move into the production process. Then you're going to move into the post-production. Then you're going to move into the warranty phase. Each one of those phases is key. Each one of those phases are key. And we're going to adjust where that customer lands every time he calls in to make sure that they have a cohesive approach to the process. It's going to free up my customer service reps to schedule new customers. It's going to keep my warranty guys only talking to warranty customers. And it's going to keep my people in the field only communicating with the people they need to communicate with on that day. So that's how the communication hub works from a trigger standpoint. These are all triggers. This is going to happen regardless of logic. The logic is I go in here and I schedule a customer. Well, there's no AI involved in that. That just tells the system, hey, if it's attached to Dan, make sure the call goes to Dan. So let's get into how the AI fits into it. So we also have some metrics here about the calls specific to this job. Total outgoing calls. We made 3 outgoing calls. Total calls this week. Incoming, outgoing, you name it, 10. Total calls this month, 10. Right? So this week, this month. Then we got total incoming calls of 7, and then we got today's calls, total calls today. Right? That's a combination of it all combined. Then HSA calls, and then job zone. A job zone is a trigger we use to automatically schedule our customers based on the zip code. So they would get assigned a job zone based on their zip code, and that would give us a pool of technicians we have access to. That's one of the things we do in our business. HSA calls, if the home warranty company called in about this customer, Demo Dan, we'd have a 1 right there. Service year is 2019 on this job, so this is when we're out there for this job. These are all key triggers to then allow me to utilize AI. Another cool thing here is our last call transcript. If I was to call back in again, this would be gone and the new call transcript would be there. This would be the most recent. That way we can get a quick glance of what the customer talked about most recently on this job. If we go here to our phones, this is where the magic happens. Okay. This is a real-time, I'll clarify. It's within a 1-minute update based on the webhook ability from Twilio. That's the phone service provider we have. Insight of the call. So a quick glance here, what you're looking at is overall score, an 8. The overall score is a representation of how Nick handled this call. Irregardless of what the customer's happy, sad, mad, you name it. How did Nick handle the call? Then we have the sentiment score. The sentiment is how did AI interpret the customer's perception of the call? Typically, they're going to be very close, right? Nick did good, this guy did good. But there's certain situations where you'll have a variance. You'll have a 7 and a 3. That'll tell you that, hey, you know what? Customer wasn't very happy, but at least Nick did a good job. And vice versa. That's some times where, the technician's having a bad day and, they got a low score. So we can address these in real time and we can build triggers in to effectively isolate this, notify, adjust, automate, whatever we need to do. So let's take a look at this call here that Nick took with Demo Dan. By the way, Demo Dan is me. It's my alter ego. All right, so right here we have the call transcript. All right. Now the sentiment analysis. This is what AI said happened. Basically, the sentiment portrayed in the client's text is generally positive and amiable. Oh, that's a good word. The customer bill seems to approachable and willing to get service. He doesn't show any negative emotions or attitudes, but rather sounds curious and seeking help. He also expressed satisfaction with the customer service representative's helpfulness. It did capture my address here at Demo Dan, 123 Demo Dan, and there's my sentiment score of an 8. Now this is what AI said the technician or the CSR did. How did the CSR handle that? We know the customer liked it, right? So AI captured positive aspects. Availability and willingness to assist, revealed by the employee. They use some fancy words on Google, don't they? Transparency of employee about potential visitation fee. Okay, so what could we do better? Could have provided more detailed time frames. Okay, we did a 30-minute call ahead. That's correct. That wasn't very detailed. Could confirm with the customer about a final schedule. They would have liked me to reiterate the time frame. Finally, we have a individual scoring metric. And the reason I have this set up this way is we're going to have strengths and weaknesses on each different customer service representative, and we want to identify that in order to help people get better. So we're looking at a bunch of things here. I'm not going to read them all. We got the politeness score, communication skill, problem resolution, empathy. That's a really cool one. Empathy is pretty key in our business when we're working with home warranty customers because a lot of times they will not be the happiest campers in the world. So, okay, let's move on. All right, so we see this information here. We see this call log. We see these AI interpretations. What makes us unique is this happens automatically on every call. Just like the sun comes up and the sun goes down. This happens on every phone call. After the phone call ends, it probably takes 3 minutes based on call volume for the information to pop into the system. It takes a few minutes for AI to generate it. As soon as it's generated, it's going to be prepared to cause an interaction. Right here are my filters. Okay, these filters allow me to look at several facets of what the call had in it. Now, I can't click these filters, otherwise I will show information that will cause Google not to let me put this online. So I'm going to give you an example of a filter by building one here. So the first filter is the name contains demo. Demo Dan. Now this is very specific. We're just going to make it say demo. We don't want to go super specific because the more specific you get, we run the risk of pulling up somebody that had the name Dan. But it wouldn't because this is an all condition, which means the first thing has to happen is his name has to contain demo. Now this is any condition. Any condition says the transcript contains Bill, right? Let's see what we get. Oh. And then I'll explain to you what we just did and how it's important. All right, so boom, we got it right here. It just pulled up that call. That's the one we just talked about. There you go. So let's go back. We're going to go back to test. And we're going to edit it. I want to explain to you how this makes AI simple. So this filter represents a filter, but it also represents the potential for a trigger to create an action. So basically, it contains demo, the name. That just makes sure we weed out all the other customers in the system. There's thousands of them. I think like 154,000 customers in the system. And it pulled that up that quick. Call event transcript contains Bill. If this happens, what might we want to have it do? The event transcript could say supervisor. Well, I sure can't spell. There we go. All right. So we save it. Well, look, we have nothing because the supervisor wasn't mentioned in that call. So now let me show you where the magic happens. This is how we make AI interact with our system. So we go to CRM settings, automations, workflows, create a workflow. All right, so this is how we create automated actions off of our predetermined AI. This is what makes it simple. A lot of AI systems you see out there requires repetitive training, constant adjustment, and I mean, you just got to have an investment in time to get it done. We've already did the hard work for you. All you got to do is set up simple event triggers based off the AI response that you're automatically going to get. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and go to the transcript. Call transcript contains. Spelled it wrong again. 100% spelled it wrong every time. Supervisor. Okay, so that has to happen, supervisor. But we want to make sure that our technicians are doing the job. Call transcript contains Bob, our technician Bob. Bob's a pain in the butt, man. Bob is not ever coming back out to demo Dan's house, right? So we want to know in specific if somebody asks for a supervisor and they mention Bob. When that happens, I need to know about it. So I want to get a text message. So I'm going to put a text message here to myself. I'm going to label it bobbed up. Yep, made a mistake. Okay, so we're going to add some fields in here. So first thing I want to do is I want to get the recording. All right. And then I want to get the CSR. I want the CSR. All right. So I'm going to save this. Okay. So now, first condition has to happen. Somebody has to say supervisor. If in the same phone call they say Bob, I'm going to get a text message. I'm going to get a recording of the call, whether I'm at home, you name it, anywhere I'm at, I'm going to get a text message, and I'm going to be able to listen to it and find out what Bob did this time. That's how we build the automated triggers into the system without overwhelming you with AI. There's a whole bunch of things you can look at here. We've isolated it to the simplest for this demo video, but we have email marketing history, email templates. We're able to do a lot with the system. We're able to schedule inside the system. I mean, we're right now just talking about the communication hub portion of it, and didn't want to get too in depth about some of the other features we have because this is so many videos. But I think the biggest thing I want you to take away from this video is understanding how we've simplified the AI process into something that really anybody can do. You just have to get used to the interface, and then you're able to pull up the information you need and create actionable events off of it. A brief example of actionable events. Man, I'm having a tough time of it. First, we can send a text message. We can send an email. But we can even go more in depth. If the customer had mentioned buying an AC, well, how much do ACs normally cost? That can be a trigger that we have set up to immediately send out an estimate to the customer. If the customer opens up that email, we can maybe send a follow-up email 2 days later if we've had no communication. So we can build all these triggers and we can lock them in company-wide. We like to do a AI process to the sale, not an AI to the sale. What does that mean? We've named our AI Alex. You'll be able to pick your own name. We used Alex. The reason we picked a name is because if somebody says, hey, I got an email from Alex, I just want to find out why this price is so low. We automatically know that AI did it, and we're put on guard to just double check and make sure that everything worked right. Clearly, we always want to double check anything that Alex does because Alex AI, he's not perfect. He's made a mistake or two in the past, and he may make a mistake or two in the future. But really, it's not his fault. It was just somebody put a trigger in that was improperly set up. So you can name your AI whatever you want. You can borrow Alex even. Alex is a good name. But Alex can adjust price on those estimates. He can say, hey, the email wasn't opened up. He can send a text message. Hey, I noticed that you didn't get a chance to check your email we sent out with that price in it. And he can drop price right in the SMS. Hey, we got availability tomorrow. My supervisor said that I need to do whatever it takes to get this furnace in for you. We can, if you can do tomorrow for the install, we can do it for $6,400. And then boom, we're waiting for that response. But we're not going to allow Alex to have a direct conversation with him. We could. Alex talks. We can set up Alex to communicate with them on the journey somewhere. For instance, Alex can answer the phone and say, hey, thanks for calling. I just want to let you know, Ms. Jones, that we have a higher level of calls in Cincinnati than we normally do. I want to let you know we're doing a 30-minute call ahead today, and we just want to pick the time of your choosing. You're on your way to a customer service rep. Just remember we're doing 30-minute call aheads only today. Well, by the time the customer gets to the CSR, it's a lot easier sell because the customer already heard it from the system. So they're not going to argue as much with my customer service representative about how that ain't going to work. But if they do, we'll address it through AI. We'll realize there was friction in the call, and we'll reach back out and we'll make an exception to keep our name excellent. But that's the few and far between, and that's kind of where AI allows us to keep up with this call volume without having a gazillion people in here. So if you got all the way through the 30 minutes of this video, I really do appreciate it. I actually had to do this twice because, well, they just didn't like me scrolling all through my database, even though I don't even think you could read it. But anyway, we have a new video here, and it has a lot. So thank you so much for checking it out.